I don't know how anybody could live in a house that has no ceiling fans in the bedrooms. I just think they're essential to keep the air moving at night and keep you comfortable. So in this townhouse, which is almost 20 years old, they never had ceiling fans. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I installed 3 identical ceiling fans and wired them through the attic. So if you have an attic above your bedrooms, you can do it yourself and save about $1,000. Welcome to HandyDadTV. I'm Chris Heider, your virtual dad in the cloud, and today I'm going to show you how to install 3 ceiling fans with remotes. They are really easy to do if you have an attic space above.
In this video, I'm going to show you 3 types of fan boxes. One that installs directly on a joist, one that installs next to a joist, and one that's attached between 2 joists. A ceiling joist, by the way, is the wood framing above the drywall that forms your ceiling. The first step is to decide exactly where you want the ceiling fan, and then use a stud finder and keyhole saw to locate the joists inside the ceiling. The location of the joists will determine what type of box you need. The first room had no joist near the fan, so I used a metal box with an adjustable brace. I'm using this adjustable hole saw, which is really a luxury tool that not only makes perfect holes, but it also catches the dust to minimize the mess. You can also use a keyhole saw or a utility knife to cut holes in drywall. Technically, this box is for new construction because it needs to be screwed to the framing. But that's fine with me because I have access to the attic above. All I did was remove the metal tabs, which are meant to set the height of the box when it's installed before the drywall. If you don't have an attic above, they make a remodel box with an expanding brace that bites into the joists without needing screws. I used that in a previous video where I installed a fan downstairs in my daughter's house. I'll link to that in the video description.
Don't like this.
When moving around your attic, be very careful to walk only on the framing, which is usually hard to see below the insulation. Step in the wrong place and you'll need a crash course in drywall repair. I'm using 14 gauge wire here because I'll be connecting them to an existing 15 amp circuit. If you have a 20 amp circuit, you'll need to use 12 gauge wire. A cordless impact driver really helps drive these beefy screws.
Alrighty. That's solid. Okay. Now the first thing you need to do, because these are metal boxes, they come with a green ground screw. You have to make sure you wrap that wire around that ground screw and tighten it down. And then you know that box is always going to be grounded no matter what. And then this will get connected to the fan's ground wires.
All ceiling fans come with some kind of bracket that needs to be secured to the box. The attachment screws should come with the box because they help achieve its weight rating. So be sure to use those screws whenever possible. Most fans come with a short down rod, which are ideal for rooms with 8-foot ceilings like this. Be sure to follow all the directions that come with your fan to ensure you correctly install all the retaining pins and set screws. This fan has a remote control instead of pull chains. The remote and receiver have 4 dip switches to set the frequency for each fan. There are only 16 combinations, and we found it was very hard to pick frequencies that weren't being used by other nearby townhomes. So I recommend getting fans with pull chains if you live in any kind of high-density housing. On one side of the receiver box, there's a plastic connector that attaches to the fan wires. On the other side, it has white and black wires that attach to the same color wire in the power line. I attached the wires using the wire nuts that came with the fan. I can safely work with these wires because I haven't connected them to power in the attic yet. I'll do that last. After attaching the fan blades, I installed the light fixture and continued to the next room. In this room, the ceiling joist was nearly dead center, So here I'll use a half-saddle plastic box, which is arguably the best kind of fan box because the fan gets screwed directly into the framing. The half-saddle box will work fine here even though there's a double joist up there. This is the only box that gets installed from inside the room, so it can be used for new construction or remodeling. It attaches with a single screw in the middle hole. With this box, the fan bracket gets attached with long wood screws that go through the box into the framing. This is the most secure way to hang a fan, so always attach it to a joist whenever possible. I got smart this time to pre-assemble the fan on the bed before hanging it. Other than that, the process is exactly the same. The third bedroom had a joist that was slightly off-center. So here I used a metal box with a bracket that attaches to the side of the joist. After I located that hole in the attic, I attached the box to the joist with 2 screws. I inserted 6 inches of wire into the box, replaced the installation, and installed the third fan just like the other 2.
Like a monkey.
After all the fans were installed, I needed to connect them to the power source up in the attic.
Now for this job, a non-contact voltage tester is essential, quite honestly, because what you have to do is find a wire that you can tap into. And that one with the black tape there, I tested it before. That one stays on when all the others are off, when all the lights are off upstairs. So all the switches off, find a wire that is on all the time. And then find which breaker that is. And as long as it's not something like an appliance or something like that, you can tap into it. And so what you do with this is you turn it on, and when you put it on the hot wire, you can see and hear that it's beeping. Okay, you could turn that breaker off. And now the light went out and the breaker is off and the sound stopped too. So now I know I can safely cut into that. Now the other problem is that this is too tight for me to get enough slack to go in one box. So I'm gonna actually use 2 boxes. Okay. The one box will feed the 2 bedrooms, and then the master bedroom will feed off of the other one, and I'll just bridge between the 2. Also, I got plastic boxes with plastic cover so that I don't have to worry about grounding it. If you use metal junction boxes, you always have to ground them. So that's one way to get away from that. The other thing I did is for one of the junction boxes, I'm going to put an outlet up here. There is no outlet in this attic, and I think it's a good idea, especially if I'm doing electrical work up here. I might as well tap into it, so I'm going to have an outlet in this junction box.
You'll see I prefer to use Wago connectors, but wire nuts work just as well.
All right, here you can see exactly what I've done is I just took all the black wires, the white wires, and the ground wires and just separated them and connected them with a 5-way Wago lever nut. Those things are really cool. They don't require any twisting, nothing. You just got to strip the wire, put it in, and flip the little lever, and they grab. Now I'm just going to drive a screw in this to hold it to this truss right here, and then put the cover on. So for the outlet, I did something a little bit different. I did an old electrician's cheat. Instead of having a pigtail and use a 5-way Wago, I could use a 3-way Wago and just strip the middle of the wire and wrap it around the screw like that. And it's really not, there's nothing wrong with it. I've seen lots of outlets wired that way. And like I said, it provides continuous power, and I don't need to use a 5-way Wago. I could get away with the 3-way.
Here you can see the completed junction box, which is screwed through the back into the framing.
If you have any questions about this project, just leave me a comment down below. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one.
If you need shade on your deck or patio this summer, check out Toya Grid Pergola Kits. You source the lumber locally and can assemble this modular system in as little as 30 minutes. Check the video description for links to videos and more information about Toya Grid.